Hello and welcome. On today's show, we are going to talk about Cabana Bay Resort at Universal Studios. Hello, I am Lauren Williams, and yes, I am in a Disney shirt talking about Universal. So today we're going to talk about Cabana Bay Resort at Universal Studios. And if you don't know, I am Lauren Williams. I am a travel agent. If you'd like to use my services, they are free. My information is below in the comments, or in the description, I should say, not in the comments. We're going to talk about Cabana Bay Resort today. And with Cabana Bay Resort, we're going to talk a little bit about what it was like and what it was like for me when I stayed there in June 2021. And that will help you to make your decision when you go to Universal Studios. Now, let's talk Cabana Bay, the basics. It's a prime value resort. That means that you can go there and it is one of the lesser expensive hotel options. The options to get to and from the parks is you either walk or you take a bus. I would say the walk is quite long. I did it just myself. I wasn't even with my family. And it was a little surprising how long the walk was. And it also depends on where you are in the Cabana Bay Resort, because if you're right by the pathway, it's much closer. I was nowhere near the pathway, so it was much longer for me to get there. Now, I'm talking about how big this hotel is. It's 1,800 rooms, and it feels probably bigger to me than any of the values did at Disney World. It's probably not because the number of rooms is about the same. I was two doors away from being the furthest room on property on Cabana Bay. So it can feel extremely far away from everything else if you are on those far off rooms. If you're closer, it might not feel so bad, but I would say it was over a 5-minute walk to get to anything in the hotel. So that's just something that you need to know. It's about 300 square feet, and there are different options for different rooms. Most rooms sleep 4, but they do have a family room option that's sleep 6. And they do have other rooms. So let's talk about those rooms since I'm talking all about them. There are different room categories. What you do need to know is that there are interior and exterior rooms at Cabana Bay. Interior rooms mean that there is an interior hallway and that you are going down a hallway that's inside to get to your rooms. There are also exterior rooms, which are motel style, meaning when you walk out your hotel door, you are outside. It is important to understand the difference because I have found that there is a difference if you are in a standard room. Obviously, you just have your 2 queen beds and your sink and then your shower and your toilet. If you are in what's called a family suite, these are the ones that can sleep up to 6. You have your 2 queen beds and then you have like a little living/kitchenette area. So this kitchenette area has a small fridge, it has a microwave, it has some paper products that you might need, and then it has a couch that can pull out for someone to sleep on. This is what I've stayed in, is the family suites, and I love these options. There is a door that separates the living area from the 2 queen beds, and we found that very useful for our son. But what else we found is that if you're on an interior doorway, it's much quieter than if you're in an exterior doorway. And the room setup is different. So if you're in an interior hallway, okay, so you have a hallway that's inside, then you go into your room. You first open up into that living space area, that kitchenette and the area where your couch is. Then you move into where the bedroom is, the 2 queen beds, and that is the side that has the window. If you have an exterior entry, meaning you're in that motel type style, you are entering from outside, opening your door, And when you come in, you are coming into you're still coming into that living room area, but your windows are there to the outside. And then as you move into the two queen bed areas, there's no window there. You're just coming to a blank wall. So for some people that makes a big difference, because if your kids are sleeping in that living room area, it's very loud. They're getting all that outside noise from the window and from the door being right there. So that's something that you just need to think about if that's important to you or not important to you. If you have really solid sleepers, then it might not make a difference to you. The cost and price is normally not that big a deal depending on what the kind of day is. The other option that Cabana Bay offers is these 2-bedroom suites. They are looking over on Volcano Bay, and well, most of them, or they're in they're in a tower right by Volcano Bay. And they offer 2 separate bathrooms and 2 bedrooms that have doors that close to them, so you can have that closed off, and a living room and kitchenette area. So those are your options also. It's just nice that families have that options for those different costs. So depending on what it is that you're looking for, that might be helpful. There's nothing like there's nothing for the price that you get for Cabana Bay that you can like equal to Disney. Food at Cabana Bay. So I stayed here in June 2021. And at the end, I'll talk a little bit about my experience there, but let's talk about the food. They have the Bayline Diner, which offers basically diner food. There are 3 stations that you can order from that change throughout the day, and then there's some quick grab and go stuff that you can also get there. Then they move on to Galaxy Bowl. Galaxy Bowl is the bowling alley that's there, but they also serve food. There's the Atomic Tonic, which is one of the bars, and the Hideaway Bar and Grill, which is outside by the pool. Swizzle Lounge is right in the lobby when you enter, and there is also a Starbucks option. So it's all pretty much quick service type food when you are there. There's no, Galaxy Bowl, I guess you could say, is a sit-down meal, but you need to be in the bowling alley really to. Let's talk pools. Cabana Bay is known for its pools. So there's 2 pools. One is the Cabana Bay Courtyard Pool, and that's the one that has the water slide. And then there is the Lazy River Courtyard Pool, which is the pool beyond the first pool, and it obviously, as it states, has a lazy river to it. So there are 2 separate pools. I would say when I was there it was never crowded. What surprised me was that the main pool didn't open till noon. Now that might change, but if you're having a pool day and you wake up and it's 8 or even 9 o'clock, you still have to wait 3 hours. The Lazy River Pool seemed to open at 10, but it never opened at 10 when I was there. It always opened closer to 11 o'clock. So though that might be a fluid COVID situation, that the times might change, but something to be aware of if you're planning on a full pool day at Cabana Bay, that it wouldn't be first thing in the morning. Now, like I said before, there is Galaxy Bowl. There is an option to go bowling at the resort. It's typically only at night, starting at 5 o'clock. They also have a fitness studio, and they have an arcade. Talking about transportation. Now, transportation at Universal is different from Disney if you are used to Disney transportation. Universal transportation seems to be more reliable and more consistent and just more on the ball. So we stayed at Cabana Bay, so our options were walking or taking the bus. Now we took the bus. I wanted to see what it was like. I would say in the morning they had multiple buses ready for us to go in the morning, so I don't think we waited more than 5 minutes. We came back midday and we waited 5 minutes for a bus. And then my husband and I went back later that night. We walked right onto a bus when we left. And on the way home, we walked down and we walked right on a bus to go to Cabana Bay. And that was at closing time during a huge rainstorm when everyone was leaving. Walked right onto a bus. No problem. So definitely a different experience. And the other days that I was there, I also had the same experiences that you could do that. I have stayed at the other hotels that offer boat transportation also. You can use the boats. They also come very often, and I would say that they are very consistent. I would say that is something that works wonderful. If you are going to Volcano Bay, you walk from Cabana Bay to get to Volcano Bay because it's right at the end of the resort. I was on the Volcano Bay side, and there would be people. There's like a little entrance that you go to that's right at the end. It's kind of actually odd. It's not labeled or anything, but it's just like right at the edge of the parking lot that you just like stand in line to get to Volcano Bay. So that does give you access that you could just walk there. But that also means that there's not normally bus access that goes from Cabana Bay to Universal Studios. Now, let's talk a little bit about my experience there. This is a hotel that I've been wanting to stay at for a long time, and I never got to stay more than like a night, so I never want to judge a hotel by one night. But I will say in June 2021, Cabana Bay needed more help and more trained help. So some of the quirky things that happened when I was there is we absolutely loved the room. When I checked in, an annual pass holder, so I was on an annual pass holder discount. And when we went to go check in, they were able to arrange the room so that my mom and I could have connecting rooms so that, we could all be together, which is very helpful if you have a small child. The only issue with that was that every day we had to get different room keys. And so at 3 o'clock every day, our room keys would stop working and we'd have to go to the front desk. Now that seems to be something that was only for the few weeks that I was there, the weeks before and the weeks after. It doesn't seem like it's still a thing, but it was just so odd that that was one of their ways of solving a problem, was that every day people had to come get their room keys. It seems specific to annual pass holders that had discounted rooms for that time, but something to be aware of that, you need that. It just something that like this could happen for you. Moving on to the food, I would say I was like a little shocked about the food. I had heard such great things about Bayline Diner, and I was very excited. Now the food that we had was great. Getting the food was almost impossible. And it wasn't because there were too many people. It wasn't because there weren't enough people working there. It was the way that they physically sell food. So we came back one day because the parks were so busy and the food lines there were so crazy. So we were like, okay, we'll come back to the hotel and eat. Well, we came back and it was like 11:20, and we walk in there and they're still serving breakfast. But you couldn't buy breakfast because breakfast was almost over and they didn't have any food left. But they wouldn't start making lunch until 11:30. So for 10 minutes, you couldn't buy any food and you couldn't get any food. And then on the flip side, when it became 11:30, I did wait a few minutes. I went up there and they said, well, it's going to be at least a half an hour because now we have to start making all the food for lunch. And to me, I worked in the restaurant industry since I was 14 years old. It was so inefficient. Like, at no point should you not be serving food if you are open. So, and that is not changed. That is still an issue at Cabana Bay. And I find that very hard. I tried to get a grab-and-go salad. They just didn't have salad dressing that week. They were like, yeah, we didn't get a shipment in, so we don't have salad dressing. So it's little things like this that I was like, okay, I can't have my child not eat today because you chose not to have food for a whole hour here. Starbucks was very limited when we were there. When we tried to order food out by the pool wasn't even open until 12 o'clock, so the food was not ready at the pool either. So honestly, from that time, basically from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there was no food option at all available at the hotel. And that to me is a huge problem and something that Cabana Bay needs to work on. And it actually would be an entire reason why I would say that you should not stay there currently. I think in the coming months, as Universal can hire more staff, it would be better. But right now, I would not recommend Cabana Bay because you need access to food. If you have a small child, yeah, I could have bought him like a chocolate bar, but like you should be able to buy food at a regular pace in regular dining hours. So that to me was a big issue. What I will say also was another issue that I don't exactly know what was happening was parking. They have some weird parking system where you need your key to put in the parking to get in and out of the parking lot, but people's keys were expiring, so they couldn't get in. So there was always a huge line to get in to park, and it was very frustrating. We didn't leave a lot after that because it was so frustrating getting in and out of the parking lot. But what I will say is we solved our issue with food and with the car by using the walkway and going across to Aventura. They have a top floor restaurant, which was amazing. It was the best price food of all of Universal, and it was a great deal, and we could just walk there. We also had the option to walk over to Sapphire Falls, which is right across the street from Cabana Bay, which we were going to eat with at if the top of the hotel at Aventura wasn't open. So I would say that Cabana Bay is great for families. This is a great family room. The family suites are a great price. I think I don't know what my AP discount was, but it was it's normally around $230, somewhere in that range, depending on when you book for those family suites. I would say those are definitely worth it. I would say if you are staying there on a budget and you want to go to Universal, this is a great place to go. I would say wait until 2022 to see if Cabana Bay can get some of their staffing issues and some of their dining issues resolved. I think that it's something that they can definitely work on. I will say we did get a pizza at Bayline Diner, and that was one of the best pizzas we had in between Disney and Universal. So definitely, it's still an option for you if you would like to go to Cabana Bay. I do recommend it. I just don't recommend it while they're still understaffed. I think a lot of staff needs to be trained. A lot of things just need to be up and running fully staffed before you should stay there. But otherwise, I think that this is a great hotel option. If you have been to Cabana Bay, I would love to hear your comments. And if you would like to have me help you plan your magical vacation, please reach out with the information below.